I'm Chief Meteorologist Henry Rothenberg in the Skywatch Weather Center. September 10th is a significant day in meteorology, especially when dealing with the tropics. It's the peak day of the hurricane season. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with right now. There is an area of disturbed weather, disturbance if you will, east of the Florida coast, expecting that to maybe develop a little bit more, but not really impact the east coast of the United States. We're also watching a storm closely that's west of the Cape Verde Islands. Could develop, but all signs pointing to this remaining a storm for the fish. It should stay out in the Atlantic, which would be good news for us. Now let's talk about tracking the tropics and really how we do that this time of year, especially in the month of September. We get an area of high pressure that develops in the Atlantic. It's referred to as a Bermuda high, and the strength of the Bermuda high is significant as far as the movement of these storms. When we have a weak Bermuda high, like we do in this case, storms usually are steered toward the east coast and then out to sea, not affecting the land. Now, if it strengthens a little bit, well, then we have to keep a watchful eye to the east coast of the United States, as these storms could pose a threat to the eastern seaboard, so they definitely deserve a little bit more watching compared to when we have a weaker high. And the strongest type of Bermuda high usually steers these storms once they develop around the Cape Verde Islands into the Gulf of Mexico. Also worth noting is the waters in the Gulf and the Atlantic, they're incredibly warm right now, and that's because we've been in the warm months for really now, September started to really heat up in June, so the summer months usually peaking as far as hurricanes go this time of year, August and September. Unstable air with temperatures cooling with height. This leads to convection or vertical motion, and clouds are basically a nice thunderstorm, if you will. Then once you get these storms to get about 15,000 feet, that supports the thunderstorm activity needed. And then the winds in these storms, they can't change a lot, otherwise it could tear them apart. So a lot of things have to come to play for this to work out, as well as the ocean water temperatures must be over 80 degrees to provide that energy, that fuel for these storms. And by this time of year, they usually are. Now, the formations of hurricanes, if you will, typically go tropical depression when you've got something with winds around 38 miles per hour. Then we go up to tropical storm status, and that's winds to about 74 miles per hour. And then once we get above 74 miles per hour, we are at hurricane status at that point, and you've got some intense rotation there. We don't have any hurricanes right now, luckily, but the season, again, not over until November 30th. So as far as the type of things that you would see this time of year, June, July, not a lot of activity. The waters are heating up, starting to really heat up in August and peaking in September, as specifically September 10th being today. We'll start to see the numbers decreasing as the days are shorter, so we won't see quite as much energy out in the ocean to heat the water up. The sun, not as much of a direct angle, so that will allow the waters to start to cool. That is the latest on why today is a significant day in weather, and of course it's good to know that we've got a little over 2 months left in hurricane season and things haven't been active yet, but it doesn't mean we're out of the woods. And as always, the Skywatch Weather Team will keep a watchful eye on the tropics for you.